What's up, y'all? Welcome to another review by Ryan, and a very happy Friday to all of you. TGIF, it is Friday, March 31st, and I hope you all are doing well wherever you're at in the world at the time you find this reaction. So in today's video reaction, I'll be reacting to the season finale of Spy Classroom. The title of today's episode actually has to do with Grete again, though it's her file one this time. It is File, Daughter, Dearest, Grete. So just kind of, first I want to apologize to you guys. I promised you guys in my reaction yesterday that I would, 2 days ago, that I was going to do this on the day it came out, and unfortunately, very busy work day. So sorry about that, but here we are. And you know, my opinions going into this finale and looking at the title being a file again, it's pretty much how my opinion's been through the entire show. I think that they tried to do the best they could to recover from the blunders that were made in the first entire half of the show. And while I do feel that the story has at least been engaging enough that I have enjoyed various parts here and there, and I actually really enjoyed last episode with how everything unfolded with Corpse and Olivia, and you know, I actually kind of felt for Olivia in the very limited time we got to see that basically she was a prostitute and was kind of just being tossed around, and it seems that the love that she had for Corpse actually was legitimate, and it looks like it was actually reciprocated. It was an interesting enough episode watching all of that unravel, seeing the fact that Grete had been pretending to be Klaus the entire time, that he had not actually physically been here whatsoever, because him and the rest of Lamplight went on their own mission. So he pretty much left it to Grete, Lily, Sibylla, and Sarah to handle things here at the mansion. And you know, everything unraveled in what I thought was a relatively good way. I hesitate to say good with this show, but it was a good episode, and I really enjoyed watching the ending as the truth came out, and Klaus, of course, had to break Grete's heart and tell her that, you know, she wasn't someone he looked at romantically, but also the fact that he didn't look at anyone romantically because he cared more about familia connections than anything. And it was really nice to see him and her get to have that moment that was set up by the girls at the end, and especially now that we know that Grete had been hiding her birth defect the entire time on her face, which again, honestly, I think she should flaunt it more. I love it. You know, I actually like it. It makes her look real badass. So, but it was something that she was very conscious about, and I'm just glad that we were able to finally wrap all that up once and for all. So, all of that aside, though, the fact still stands that the show has definitely flopped. But I come into this episode planning to award a 6. So, I think that the second half of the season has done just enough for me that I won't outright fail the episode. And the fact that it looks like we're going to ride the Grete train to the end, and Grete is my favorite character, I do believe that they'll at least be able to wrap this portion of the show up relatively nicely. And even though it means that I don't know if it's going to be a really satisfactory episode as far as a finale is concerned, looking at all the mistakes this show made, I think I'm just ready, like everybody else, for us to get this done with. For me to say my positives and negatives, to give my final rating, and we'll just move about to the rest of our animes that hopefully won't make the same mistakes made here. So that's pretty much all I got to say now. I'm going to go ahead and get the episode pulled up. It'll be a split second for you guys, and when I come back, we'll get this video reaction started. Alright, y'all, I am back. I have the episode pulled up, and we're going to go ahead and get this reaction started. Again, the title of today's season finale is File, Daughter, Dearest, Grete. Let's go ahead and get this started in 3, 2, 1. Oh. Yeah. That is so wonderful. Several weeks ago after the first mission. Oh, so this is before the second mission. So we have indeed gone backwards now. Again, just the decisions that they've made with going back and forwards, I think they really didn't know where they wanted to really go with presenting this story. Okay, and now we'll get to see their vacation itself. Okay. I guess might as well. Greta's just like, what in the world? Oh. Oh shit, don't be showing me no food right now. As a matter of fact, when I'm done with this reaction, I'm probably gonna throw down this evening because I am starving. Food is always the way to one's heart. Mm. Oh damn. Dang. Dang. Can we not bust out songs right now? Bad place, bad time. Yeah, let's not do that. It sounds like an awful idea. Well, I mean, my girl tried to sing a chicken song to try to break the mood, so you know. No, Greta about to do something. And as we've learned over the last couple of episodes, she will not stop when it's something she's trying to pursue. Because she looks up to Klaus. They're about to whip somebody's ass. Yep. See? We jump straight to poison. Also, it's nice to see Faye getting in on some of the action because I was just about to complain about the fact that she's pretty much got next to no love since like what episode 4, 5? I don't know. To be honest, I'd probably say the same with Monica too, and Annette to an extent. So they really did end up working on their time off anyway. They took down a whole damn corporation on their vacation. I swear. Uh huh. Falling for them titties. Oh dang! Can't run a company. And that's why he's pursuing the recipe. Man, just bad business. Don't know how to work anything. And then gonna go after a local shop. Get out of here. But his company hates him, so it should. Oh, he's just gonna kill people. Oh, this man think he running a mafia. All right. Well, that's fine. No one's bullets can hit anybody anyway, as we've learned. Everyone has stormtrooper type shooting. Cough. Exactly! Y'all, why we had to throw my girl like that? She was the first thing that came to my mind. Which also is another negative I have that I'll talk about later. Oh my goodness. Y'all sure this is the right idea? Yeah, we'll ride with it. Ah. Oh boy. Shit. If you cover it for a whole year, you get it. You got a deal, or maybe a seat at the table. Damn! He went straight for the good. Yo. Oh shit. Damn, they've impersonated a whole nother masterclass guy here. Of course they have. We already know that Greta has literally just masterful disguises and planning. Yep. Which is phenomenal. Damn, he's not. Dang, 200,000 without even having to buy a girl like he was about to do. I love how that. And you already can't run a company. We gonna pull out the gun now? Look at these awkward. I'm surprised that worked out. But then again, he's stupid, as they all said. And this probably further proved why she was going to be able to handle the second impossible mission in the way that she was able to. She jumped straight to the proposal, I swear. I mean, it's such a random one off place. I highly doubt he would ever do something like that. President Dumbass. No. Yeah, I think he's on. Some, oh, so he's already on. Yeah. You know, I really love how this finale is over a freaking meat pie, now that I really think about it. I mean, he got incredibly close. Into the sun. What? Suitable amounts. Yeah. Real chefs that just be tossing it in and you just know that it's the right amount of seasoning and the right amount of flavor. Well, being how your personality has shaped up throughout the show, it makes sense that you would do something like this. Yeah, and also this is a whole maiden in love, so of course all this happened and we now know that she's already been completely and utterly shut down. Sarah really has come in handy. Damn, but it closed or did he just run with the money? Oh, no, he is open. Oh, so he's training an apprentice. Good for you. Oh. I mean, maybe or maybe not. I mean, maybe. That is an awful thought. My man don't got time for that type of stress. You know, I really like the episode. The issue is this wasn't a finale. This is just out of place, which is what the definition of this whole show has been. But again, it continues to further support that Grete was best girl because she literally ended up getting half of the show to her. Right after I was complaining about that in the first half. So there it is. Well, I can at least say that my rating didn't really change much because of this episode. Because this episode, falling in line with the direction that this entire show's been presented to us, went exactly as I could have anticipated, being random. Is there time left in this episode? Yes, there is. It looks like we're going to actually have about 2 minutes left, so we got something we're getting at the end of this. This is probably another scheme to try to trap him again. I believe nothing. Then he's going to be. What? What? Why drop something like this now after you've been completely offbeat for most of it and you want to drop something like this at the very end? And this episode had nothing to do with, oh my goodness, this is the problem with this show. It just doesn't know if it wants to be serious, if it wants to be a slice of life, if it just wants to be in between. I don't know what the fuck it wants to be. Well, that was the last episode. Give me a moment to make sure the video is good and we'll talk about the final rating. Well, guys, I mean, the final episode went about about as well as I expected it to go, which was completely off topic to the very end. Again, I did like the file with Grete, and Grete does still remain my favorite girl of the series, and it was enjoyable getting to watch her little side quest when it came to preserving something that was a very deep and fond memory of Klaus and his former team, Inferno. And so in that essence, the episode was fine. The issue is this is a finale episode. This also isn't the first finale that I've watched this winter season that has just been off the rails with where it really wanted to go with the ending. It didn't feel like a finale whatsoever. And then we get to the very end and Monica's holding fucking Thay at gunpoint. What the hell was going on with that? Absolutely nothing that will be leading up to her betraying Lamplight. I mean, I'll be fair. I won't say that I ever really trusted her per se, but using trust in a show like this is kind of pointless because in a world of spydom, you trust no one. So it just doesn't make any sense. And I don't really know why they would show that at the very end of an episode that was supposed to be a finale. But, it solidified my final thoughts that I have about the series. And it's just, Well, it's going to be relatively disappointing. So we're going to kind of just skip on and we're going to get to the final rating. So it is time for the final rating. And for those who have seen my other final ratings, I did recently change my scoring system. So as you see on screen, story is 40%, storyboarding is now 30%, and art and animation and music are 15% apiece, respectively. So the story was disappointing. From the very beginning to the very end, it didn't really know where it wanted to go. I actually have enjoyed seeing these girls on screen, and so that's why when I give my final rating, it's actually going to be a bit disappointing because I've enjoyed seeing these girls individually on screen. But I want to start with the very beginning with Lily. Lily went from being a character that I thought we were going to actually have a pretty nice, detailed, non-comical every episode theme around to literally just being a walking gag, and like she's just a laughing stock of the show. And it was so disappointing because if you guys remember listening back to episode 1 and episode 2, I actually thought relatively favorably of Lily. Lily's a cute girl. Obviously, they wanted to use her for sex appeal throughout the damn show, when the one that I thought was going to be used for sex appeal, which was Faye, didn't even get half as much time. So I don't know what the hell was up with that. But she just ended up being a running gag the whole show. And in the end, that's the only purpose she served with Lamplight. And it's so disappointing. Erna, I enjoyed seeing Erna on screen for the time that they wanted to talk about why they chose not to present her until the end of the first Impossible mission. But after we had her story about her and her poor luck and everything, I didn't really have much more time to really gain much attachment to her. And, my thing was perhaps she didn't even need to be written into the story at all. But, that's just the way they chose to portray it. And for better or worse, it did. Unfortunately, her introduction was kind of the nail in the coffin to the fact that the whole first half of the show kind of ended up just being off. Grete, it did end up being my favorite character. Half the season was portrayed to her, and I really enjoyed her. And of course, I really love the voice actor, so I was going to be a diehard and kind of biased for her to begin with. But I will say she was the best portrayed character in the whole show. Thank goodness for her. She was the glimmer of hope that existed in what was pretty much lackluster story that didn't really know where it wanted to go. Here you go. At the very end, we see her now with Monica pointing a gun at her as a traitor to Lamplight, and the fact she needs time to dispose her body. What the fuck was going on there? Sibylla, I really did like Sibylla, and I love the fact that she, her entire purpose was to help save the children and save those that were vulnerable and in situations like what she was. And I'll say, outside of Grete, she probably was my second most enjoyed character. For Monica and Annette, really, I didn't really have an overly big connection to either of them, except with various moments here and there for comic relief. And then, of course, now Monica holding a gun at Faye's head while she's looking over the other girls that hadn't returned yet. Sarah, which again, she's a good girl and she has control of the animals, and she had a very unique element to Lamplight that I did enjoy seeing on screen, but again, didn't have a very big and deep attachment to. And then Klaus, we were really starting to dig into his past with Lamplight here and there, but I feel that they could have done a much better job with talking to us about the backstory of Inferno. And I feel that every character was a true definition of wasted potential on a story that was just wasted on naivety and really just poor story writing. So it's unfortunate because this series had the potential to be a solid 8 out of 10 if it had a proper beginning, middle, and end, or if the cliffhanger ended on a really good note, but the entire episode wasn't really leading us anywhere, except to talk more about, our daughter Dearest, which, of course, we would have all known the type of demeanor that Grete had because we've watched her presentation during the 4-part mission for Daughter Dearest. So, I don't feel that this episode really contributed anything at all to changing what you thought about her already, and it was a wasted episode, being that this is supposed to be a finale. So, it just, from the very beginning to the very end, we had glimmers of hope, glimmers of promise. I came into this episode saying, I'll give a 6 if this is a proper finale. I don't know what the hell this was for a finale. It was a good episode as a standalone, as a file episode, but it wasn't a good finale. And I realized that I should not award any level of a passing score to a show that even down to the very end just can't have a proper end. So with that said, I'm giving the story a 5 out of 10. The story element fails. And for the storyboarding was just awful. So the arrangement of this show just could have been so much better. It was not the worst arrangement that I've seen, cough Promised Neverland season 2, but it just wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. And this final episode proved it. It just, to the very end, did not know how it wanted to present the story and wrap up. And I feel that they should have really taken certain parts of the story back to the drawing board, because there's so many different ways they could have arranged the story of the girls in Clawson Inferno and the First Impossible Mission that would have made this so much better. I've talked about those things through my reactions. And so unfortunately for storyboarding, I'm going to have to give storyboarding an even lower score than I gave the story. Storyboarding is going to get a 4 out of 10. So the story gets a 5, storyboarding gets a 4. You see where we're headed at this point. Art and animation was good. Art and animation was fine. It wasn't the best compared to other shows that I've watched this season. But I think that the art and animation was probably the glimmer of hope for the show. And so I'll give art and animation a 7 out of 10. And then last but not least will be music. And the music, again, it's nothing to write home about. It's not winning any awards, but the music served its purpose for the show. I think the music did okay. Again, not my favorite background music out of other shows that I watched, but it was satisfactory enough. And so I'll give the music a 7 out of 10 also. So the story gets a 5. Storyboarding gets a 4. Art and animation gets a 7, and music gets a 7. And so this brings me to my very depressing final score. I really, really thought that if they could have at least done a decent job wrapping this up, and if they were going to have a season 2, if maybe we could have done some focusing, perhaps we could have focused back on Thay and then led up to that final showdown with Monica holding the gun at her head, then perhaps it would have made a lot more sense, and I would have been accepting of that ending, and I could have sat here and said the show passes. The show does not pass. The show at no point really knew what direction it really wanted to go. I think they did a relatively good job with the 4-part Grete arc, but again, the first half of the show, it just wasn't it. It never knew where it wanted to be. And in this final episode, again, continued to prove it just didn't know where it wanted to be. We had so many great shows this winter season. I really didn't want to give a failing score, but unfortunately, my one failing score, at least at this time, is going to have to go to Spy Classroom. What an absolute crying shame. It's going to get a 5 out of 10. And it's just a disappointment. It's just a really, really big disappointment. There was a lot of excitement and hype around this, and especially amongst the community of anime watchers that I talked to. A couple of my in real life friends were very, very excited for this show. And it's just sad that in the end it could never really find its stride and find its mark. It got very close with the Dearest arc, but it just, in my opinion, couldn't find its mark to the very end. And this will definitely be a show that now that it's over, everyone's going to forget and will probably never think about again, which is definitely a waste because of the fact Grete was voice acted by none other than Miku Ito. So such a shame. A lot of potential. The girls were cute. The dynamic of what the story was supposed to be about was intriguing enough, and it felt very unique in the first episode, but we could tell in the second episode that we were going way, way off left field, and even though it tried here and there to get back on the train tracks, it just never actually got back on the track in the end. So sorry that this is my rating, but it still was a good watch. There were still positive moments. I love Grete. I wish I could have continued loving Lily, but Lily ended up being just a running gag. And, it's just, I hope that this author learns a valuable lesson from this, that this could have been very special, but you gotta write the story and you gotta arrange it in a way that's going to be cohesive. It's fine if you want to be unique. It's fine if you want to do little shocking things like keeping Erna until later or keeping this reveal with Thay until later. But the story has to be cohesive in some avenue for the audience to stay engaged, and this just isn't the way. So that is my final rating. Regardless of this, I am still happy I came back to finish reacting to it. It definitely had good moments that I enjoyed watching, and it just sucks that I have to give a failing score. But better luck next time. So that is my final rating for the Spy Classroom, and with this is actually my last reaction video for the season because unfortunately Nier Automata version 1.1a is on ice and in cryogenic sleep, and who knows when we'll ever see it finish. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video reaction. I have enjoyed all of my reactions throughout the duration of this winter season. If you did like the video, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to be one of the first to be notified when a new reaction becomes available, hit the bell icon. So I do have some last bit of important information to share with you in regards to the spring. I've already advised you guys that the spring reactions in the state that I plan to do them was canceled, but I will have a video coming up after this video, which will also be the last video I'll post in regards to the spring season and kind of the conclusion of the winter season. That will come up very shortly after this video reaction goes up, and I would ask that you guys take a watch of the video so that you know what the hell's going to be happening from this point forward. So thank you for your support of my reactions this winter season. Shoot, I appreciate you all watching my reactions up to this point, and until the next reaction video, catch you later. Guys, I was starting to do my editing for the reaction, and I did not see the breaking news from yesterday via the Twitter account for the television series, but I did just see, as I was doing my edits, that it does look like a second season is coming. So as you see on screen, this was announced at 11 a.m. my time yesterday. It says here, Spy Room, next mission, April 7th, 2023, 2000, which is 8 p.m. Latest information standing by. And the tweet translated says, latest information lifted. Please look forward to further news. So that does mean that a second season is inevitably coming, whether it's now. Correction, there is more adaptation of the material coming. Whether that is a second season or a movie stands to be seen. That doesn't change my rating though. So I want to make that very clear because of course that does mean now they're going to explain more about what the hell just happened at the end with Monica and Faye. But regardless of that, my rating still stands. The show is still failing. But I will watch it, and if it is an anime series, I will react to it too. So maybe we'll see each other again. Who knows? And I'll give it a chance to try to recover from some of the many mistakes it made during this first season. Won't change anything for this season, but perhaps they could pick up and arrange things in a way that's going to be a lot more enjoyable and a lot easier for us to keep up with in the second half. I'll give it a second shot. We'll see what happens, and I guess we'll all be seeing each other a little later on. So, with that said, that's all I wanted to jump in and say. This does officially end the video now. And until the next video, catch you guys later.